Hello and welcome back to Dawn Chorus Writes, a Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction and audio fiction. This is written by Jheqia, narrated by Dawn, myself. Hello, and this is The Perfect Birthday, and it's for Jheqia's Wednesday. So if you haven't listened to the other chapters, they are linked down below. I would recommend listening to those first. Make sure you give a massive shout out and lots of love to Maku for the picture in the thumbnail, which is absolutely stunning. All her information is down below. Jheqia's information is down below as well, and she's on Archive of her own, so you can go and check out her work over there. So all her information is below. Make sure you smash that like button, send me some love, comment down below what you think of the final chapter, and make sure you subscribe, because even though this is the final chapter of The Perfect Birthday, there is so much more to come and so many other goodies. So I hope you enjoy. Chapter 5. The Perfect Birthday. After refreshing Tiki with another macaroon, Marinette transformed again and went to look for Adrien. It took several minutes to find him, but he was back at the tower with his bodyguard, presumably waiting for Marinette. Thank goodness I have a backup plan, she thought. She landed next to them and smiled. Are you both okay? Adrien turned around to look at her. Ladybug? Hi. Yeah, we're okay. How are you? Completely worn out, to tell you the truth, she said with a shrug. Just another day in the life of a superhero. I wanted to thank you for saving the day, like you always do, he said, a faint blush spreading across his face to his ears. Sorry if it ruined your birthday, she said sheepishly. Is Marinette okay? He asked, almost attentively. It made her feel so good that he asked about her that she smiled and blushed herself under the mask. Yes, she's fine. She was worried about you and asked me to look for you. She opened her yo-yo and took out her backup envelope. This is the card for the last clue. Marinette wanted you to finish the scavenger hunt if you have the time. She said the best surprise is the last one. As she held it out to him, he took it shyly. Ladybug? He asked quietly, looking at her with wide eyes. May I give you a hug? You look like you need it. Oh, yes, I guess so, she whispered. He slowly stepped forward and wrapped his arms around her. Marinette's heart started pounding as she wrapped her arms around him too. If he would only hug me like this as Marinette, she thought. But if he has a crush on Ladybug, I guess it's the next best thing. Thank you for visiting me this morning, he whispered in her ear, making her shiver. Oh, once a partner, always a partner, she replied as she pulled away. You better follow that clue to your last surprise. She turned her eyes to his bodyguard, who had been standing like a centaur during the talk. You'll get him safely where he needs to go? A faint twitch on the lips indicated a smile, and the man gave one sharp nod. Pulling out a yo-yo, she secured it to the nearby rooftop. Happy birthday, Adrien, she said, and greatly daring blew him a kiss before swinging off into the sunset. Adrien stood watching the girl he loved disappeared into the pink and gold sky over Paris rooftops and sighed. He wondered if he would see Marinette at the end or not. She had all the signs of being exhausted and had admitted as much, but he knew all too well she could be stubborn when she had set her mind on something. Despite the contradiction, he had seen her with his own eyes talking to Akuma, and when he had hugged Ladybug, she had smelt like vanilla, just as Marinette had. He saw the pink kiss seal on the back of the envelope and briefly brought it to his lips. Opening it, he read the poem inside the card. To find your surprise, please do as you're bid. Go to the fountain where the two of us hid. Adrien smiled at the memory. She had helped him escape a horde of crazed fans by hiding in the fountain near her house. Even as Marinette, she was still saving people. He looked at his bodyguard. I know it's getting late, but can we swing by the park near the school on the way home? He was surprised when the man cracked a smile for him and patted him on the back silently as they walked back to the car. As they neared the park, he noticed signs and banners and balloons up everywhere. Someone had strung up some Christmas lights around the lamppost for festive luck, and the whole class seemed to be here. As he got out the car, everyone yelled, "Surprise! Happy birthday!" And he was carried away by a wave of friends. He was hugged, pounded on the back by Kim, kissed by Chloe and Lila, cheered by others. There was a cake filled with passion fruit mousse, snacks, and a table stacked with presents. All the while he kept an eye out for Marinette. Finally, when things had settled down a little, he took Nino aside to thank him for the cool headphones he had got him and asked where Marinette was. "Dude, didn't she come with you?" "No, we got separated during the akuma attack. Ladybug said she was okay though, and gave me the last clue card to come back here." "Wow, that's a shame, man," Nino replied with a whistle. "Not that you got to talk to Ladybug. I know you got a thing for her, but Marinette worked so hard to pull all this together for you. Too bad she has to miss it." It hit him then that he had spent the whole time with Marinette, telling her how amazing it was that Ladybug had planned this for him. The fencing patch, the scavenger hunt, the surprise party. No wonder she had looked so sad in the car. "Yeah, I know what you..." Just then, Alia and some of the girls who were clustered together a short distance away shifted, and he saw Marinette standing across the fountain from him. "Marinette!" he called. She turned to see him and ducked her head with embarrassment. She looked so pretty in the sunset glow, and one of the last sunbeams filtered through the trees and rooftops to bathe her in its radiance. It was so similar to the last moment of her dreamlike visit to his room that morning. But here she wasn't a dream. The rosy orange light caressed her hair and cheek and was swallowed by the blackness of her jacket, as if it loved her but dared go no further. Did he dare, knowing what he now did? She wasn't a dream. She was real, solid and dependable. She was Marinette, his shy, awkward friend, but also Ladybug, his amazing, brave, teasing partner. He ran around the fountain, unable just to stand and watch her any longer. "Marinette," he said, taking her hands in his. "Thank you for spending the afternoon with me." She looked up at him through her lashes with a shy smile. It was fun. I'm just sorry it was interrupted. So, do you like Ladybug's surprise party?" He wouldn't have caught the emphasis if he hadn't been looking for it this time. She is willing to let me think Ladybug did all this. Why? Why would she go through all the effort and trouble and then let someone else take the credit? Because she was Ladybug, with or without the mask, and she wanted people to be happy. "This has been the best birthday I have ever had," he said firmly. "I wouldn't change a thing." She looked up at him, surprised. "Really?" "Yeah, after all," he leaned in to give her a hug, "I got to spend the day with one of the greatest girls I know." Marinette wrapped her arms around him in return. He could feel her shivering slightly, and a few hot tears soaked into his shirt, but also that she totally relaxed in his arms. She must be exhausted. "It's been a long day, huh?" he asked, still holding her. "Yeah, it has," she whispered into his shirt. He let her go gently, even though he wanted to keep holding her. "Why don't you head home? I'll see you later." She looked at him with a sad but sweet smile that tugged at his heart. "Yeah, I probably should. See you later, Adrien." She watched her as she made her way out of the park towards the bakery and her home. When she was out of sight, he went to find Alia. "Hey, Alia," he called as he approached the girl. "What's this about the scarf?" Adrien gave Marinette several hours to rest before he descended on her balcony as Cat Noir. His heart was racing and he ached to be with her, but he knew he would have to move slow. He knew how wearing a mask could allow you to change parts of yourself that you wouldn't or couldn't be around others. His mask gave him freedom and a purpose, letting him be more his true self. But he guessed that while Marinette got confidence from wearing the mask, her true self was not Ladybug. Just as he wanted to be loved for his quirky, silly, outrageous Cat Noir side, she needed to be loved as Marinette. Yes, slow and steady is the key to this, he thought as he tapped on a dimly lit skylight. If he could only get his heart to cooperate. When she poked her head out a few minutes later, sleepy and rumpled haired, his heart started beating at his ribs like a caged bird longing for the sky. "Cat, is everything okay?" she asked sleepily, clearly not quite awake yet. "I wanted to see you and talk to you for a minute, princess, if you aren't too tired." She rubbed her eyes and climbed slowly out onto the balcony, wrapped in a fuzzy blanket, and plopped down on the lounge chair. "Just a few minutes. It's been a really long day." "Yeah, for both of us. You were downtown when the attack was going on. I wanted to make sure you were alright." She yawned. "Yeah, I was. How did you know?" He rubbed the back of his neck, embarrassed. "That Adrien guy wanted me to keep an eye out for you." She blushed a little, but wrapped herself tighter in the blanket on the lounge chair. That was nice of him. "Marinette," he said, sitting next to her, "why did you let him think Ladybug planned the party for him? Didn't you want your friend to know how hard you worked to make it a special day for him?" "Of course, silly cat," she said sleepily, leaning against him. "But he was so happy thinking Ladybug had planned it for him. He doesn't have a lot of happiness in his life, and I didn't want to take it from him." Her words made his heart surge in his chest, and it tingled where she leaned against him, gently, so she could pull away if she wanted to, and how he hoped she didn't want to. He wrapped his arms around her. She leaned in closer to him, almost snuggling against his chest. She was clearly exhausted, but he couldn't resist asking a few more questions. He hoped she was so tired she wouldn't remember in the morning. "Was that how it was with the scarf last year too?" he asked in a whisper. "Uh-huh. He thought it was from his father. His happiness was more important," she said between yawns. "But why, Marinette? Why go through so much trouble only to not let him know?" She was falling asleep. Her voice was barely above a whisper. "Because I love him. Even if he doesn't see me." She pressed against him, clearly too tired for more talk. Gently, he picked her up. He lowered her through the skylight back into her own bed, covering her with a blanket. He gave her a gentle kiss on the forehead, just as she had done for him that morning. "I see you now. And I love you, Ladybug," he whispered as he closed the skylight behind him. A red blur passed through the glass and hovered before him. "Be careful, Adrien," said the little red Kwame. "You know who I am?" "Yes, you're Cat Noir, her true partner and best friend, and Adrienette, the boy she loves. She loves both sides of you. She is the strongest ladybug I have ever known, but..." The little red creature turned to look back at the skylight. "A heart is her weak spot.
Does she know?
Not yet.
Should I tell her?
Build more trust as Adrien first, she replied, and choose your time carefully. She has suffered things you don't know about, and she'll be afraid when she finds out your identity. But if you can see and love her as Marinette and not just Ladybug, then I think things will turn out all right.
Cat sighed and grinned. I've waited a year already. What is waiting a little longer for the girl you love, right?
He held out his fist, and the little creature tapped her tiny hand against it.
Pound it, she said. It was nice to meet you, Tiki.
Good night, Cat Noir. Say hello to Plag for me. And with that, she disappeared back into the Marinette's room. As Cat made his way back home, his thoughts swirled in a merry dance inside his head. He still didn't have all the answers, and clearly there were things that Ladybug had never told him. But Tiki was right. He would win his lady over as his civilian self first, and then let her know. Even Cat can learn patience after all. He de-transformed into his room and flopped onto his bed with a sigh. His thoughts wound through the events of the day. Ladybug kissing him in bed that morning, holding Marinette's hand as they went on the scavenger hunt, their victory against Scarlet Moth, learning Ladybug was his best friend, and the party she had planned just for him. But knowing that Marinette loved him was the sweetest of presents. Yes, this had definitely been the perfect birthday. Thank you for listening to The Perfect Birthday. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you smash that like button. Comment down below what you thought of it. And make sure you subscribe and go and send Jheqia loads of love for writing it. And I hope you're good. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye.